So Doomsday is one of Superman's most powerful enemies. So what happens when he returns back from being a king in hell to rain havoc and get revenge on Superman? And that's exactly what we see here when Doomsday randomly shows up in Metropolis, more powerful than ever. Now, of course, my name is AJ here at the Hero Informer, and let's see what's happening. So we start off with getting a little bit of a backstory and timeline for Doomsday, as you will never guess who is the person narrating and saying this. But they go on to say, my creator called me the ultimate, designed to be a weapon, a destroyer of all things, and for hundreds of thousands of years I moved from world to world and ravaged them until I was killed, because with each death I would evolve and change, never to be defeated the same way twice. Eventually I came to your world, Earth, where I met my end again, but then I was given a new name, Doomsday. But the future knows me as Time Trapper, because as it will turn out, over the next coming thousands or maybe even millions of years, Doomsday doesn't die or get defeated permanently. No, he keeps evolving time after time, battle after battle, till not only does he evolve into a level of hyper intelligence, but he also evolves into a level of immense power, with him currently having the power over time itself. Him even going on to further explain, I have faced the best and worst of time and space. Many efforts have been made to stop me, but me and you, Superman, were both survivors. You were created out of sacrifice and kindness, while I was created out of selfishness and cruelty. But with my many deaths over the millions of years, it has given me many new gifts and powers, way beyond my creator's vision. And previously it took the combined powers of the Legion of Infinite Worlds to kill me last time. But ever since then, I have been unable to evolve. Meaning in the next millions of years, Doomsday reaches to a point where he becomes so powerful that he seemingly hits a ceiling cap. Well, yes, he is still immensely powerful, almost a cosmic being at this point, but he has maybe hit his ceiling. As he goes on to further explain and ask Superman, I believe if I were to die again, I would be reborn into a true god. Then I could just simply break the cycle and rule over all eternity instead of being destined to destroy it. So Superman, I ask you to make the ultimate sacrifice once more and help me to achieve the next step of my evolution. So basically this future Doomsday, for whatever reason, believes if Superman kills him once more, that will be the catalyst event that would trigger him into his next evolution, becoming infinitely more powerful, being able to, in his own words, rule over eternity. And Superman, after hearing all of this, simply asks, with all of history at your disposal, why come here at this one specific time? And it turns out Doomsday, or this Time Trapper, came a little bit early, because time and space are in a flux. Noticing how Superman still has his right eye, meaning General Zod has not returned yet, but also this time is very special because this is when his old self, the current Doomsday who was King of Hell, came back and arrived. And it being so bad that the horrors that come next, the lives lost, and how Superman will be tested in ways that he has never been tested before. But of course he will survive just like he has always done. Unfortunately for his allies, they are not so lucky. And Superman, hearing how all of his friends and allies will die by Doomsday, said by Doomsday, well, just doesn't sit right with him, as he starts to get angry and rushes towards this Time Trapper. But evidently, if you haven't noticed before, this Time Trapper is way older and way more powerful than any version of Doomsday Superman has faced in the past, as he simply grabs Superman by the throat, telling him, yes, I may be evolved now, but I am not above physical violence, tossing him to the ground with so much force. But this Time Trapper didn't come here for a fight. No, he came here just to pass along a message, as he puts his cloak back on, telling Superman that they will meet again. And when they do, he will choose to help him, or he will have to watch everyone he loved perish, just leaving in the back of his mind that no matter what Superman may do, him and Doomsday will continue to live on, which is good and bad depending on how you look at it. But now with this future Doomsday leaving and Superman knowing that this current Doomsday is still very powerful and very angry here, he knows that time is of the essence. As he rockets off, time still slow to a standstill as he moves faster than he has ever done before, because right now Lois Lane, who has the powers of a Kryptonian and is currently Superwoman, is engaged in a fight with Doomsday. And if Superman himself died before when he fought Doomsday, he of course doesn't want his current wife Lois Lane sharing any type of similar fate. So going so fast, in a blur of speed, faster than light, he circles the earth multiple times, gaining momentum, gaining power, as he comes in and hits Doomsday with a devastatingly powerful punch. It being so hard, it not only draws blood from Doomsday, but shakes the entire city to its core, creating an earthquake that was off the charts, which even downs Doomsday for a couple seconds. But unfortunately, as Superman goes out to notice, Doomsday is coated in flames. Not just any type of fire, but hellfire. Certain flames that hurt Superman way more than any normal fire ever could, which just makes this King of Hell Doomsday that much more efficient against Superman. And now with this souped up Doomsday versus Superman, it seems like the rematch of the century is finally going to happen, with Superman opting to take this on a one-on-one while instructing Superwoman, or Lois Lane, to fight the Doomhounds, which seem to be little miniature animal Doomsdays. And while Superwoman is dealing with that, we see Superman and Doomsday have a giant slugfest of a fight, going throughout the entire city, destroying property, knocking down buildings. And as Superman, well, trying to be Superman and save this property and people, holding up an entire building for the civilians to get clear, we see Doomsday come to attack him and possibly make him drop the city, but he is saved by Superwoman coming just in time. But Lois here, Lois Lane, she is a bit in over her head, Doomsday is just too powerful, as he effortlessly overpowers her and sinks his claws deep into her arm, which this little moment right here could spell into something more dangerous and bigger later on, as we will see towards the end. But for now, he simply knocks her away to continue with Superman, and with the people getting clear, Superman is now absolutely angry and charges for Doomsday once more. All this is happening while Batman and the Justice League watch from above, getting ready to deploy if Superman and his team at Supercorp can't handle it. Because yeah, you might say, why don't the Justice League just come in? Doomsday fighting the entire Justice League might just create more chaos and problems if they can't subdue him first. Because as we see, their first line of defense and plan in this situation is to drop Parasite. Parasite, the Superman villain, able to consume energy and power himself up, going against Doomsday. And the reason why he is working with the villains now is because he is trying to be reformed. So right now he isn't an enemy, but an ally. And so going against Doomsday, a seemingly bottomless pit of full energy, he is going to have a meal of his life. And we see exactly that. Parasite dropping in and latching onto Doomsday, absorbing his energy and becoming stronger. And it seems to be working. The once hellfire coating Doomsday's body starts to go out. He is getting weaker, but even still, while weakened, Superman knows just how dangerous of an opponent Doomsday is, as he goes on to tell Parasite to be careful, and whatever you do to not kill Doomsday, because if you do, he will only come back stronger. Which I mean isn't even an option in this fight, as Parasite goes on to say he can't, but Doomsday's power is unlike anything he has ever felt before. It's like a bottomless buffet, but Doomsday, being even more enraged by this, does something absolutely crazy, because while he is being drained by Parasite, he grabs onto his body and literally rips him in two. Which if you just stop and think about it for a second, a weakened Doomsday ripping in half a Superman level villain that had just absorbed most of Doomsday's power, meaning even in this weakened state, Doomsday is hilariously stronger than anyone else here. All while Superman can do nothing but watch, having the blood of Parasite splatter onto him, watching a previous villain turned ally die right in front of his face. And this absolutely enrages Clark, as he rushes towards Doomsday saying enough. Not holding back, he is fighting with everything he has, because right now he isn't going to let this opportunity go to waste. An opportunity that seemingly cost the life of Parasite. Because yes, Doomsday is weakened now, so Superman, he's going to fight with everything he has. Which we see him just go to town beating on Doomsday, pound after pound. Hit so strong it shakes the city itself. But all while he is doing this, he is getting angrier. We see something very interesting. As you see in a previous part of this comic line, Superman was infected by a different strand of red kryptonite. And not to be confused with red solar energy, which just straight up depowers him, red kryptonite's effect on him has always been pretty randomized. But in this case, after his exposure, the effect seems that anytime he loses control, he starts to get angry and lose himself, literally making him into the Hulk. Unable to control his rage, anger, just lashing out. And with someone on the power level of Superman, you can see why this is very, very dangerous. And we see this, Superman red, his veins pulsing with red energy as he is completely lost in the anger. After beating Doomsday to a pulp, him having his battered, bleeding body on the floor, which in a rare occurrence, we actually see Superman beat Doomsday. Now, of course, the circumstances wasn't like a one-on-one battle, he was weakened by Parasite, but still Doomsday was very powerful and Superman still beat him all the same. And with Doomsday finally subdued and down for the second, the Supercorp, which was previously Lex Corporations, they got flipped into doing heroic work and saving lives. They come and start to detain Doomsday, because as we find out, even though Parasite did sacrifice himself and died, he did what he needed to do. Doomsday was weakened enough for their weapons to penetrate his skin and keep him subdued, and pumping him full of something called Black Mercy Venom, which basically keeps his mind locked inside of his dreams, essentially keeping him docile and able to be contained. But this isn't going to last forever. And as we see Superman weaken, as his red levels are coming down and he is calming down, but still, that fight, him going all out, took everything out of him, as he can barely stand and Superwoman, Lois Lane, has to help him fly out of there. So even though parts of the city have been demolished, Parasite, a reformed villain and ally, murdered, and Superman encountering a future, way more powerful version of Doomsday, that gave him a prophecy that everything around him will come to ruin, you could kinda chalk this adventure up to a win because they were able to beat and subdue Doomsday without major casualties like it usually is. And now cutting back over to Clark's apartment, we see the aftermath of the battle, with him and Lois talking over and cleaning their wounds almost, because as we have seen before, Doomsday literally got his claws inside of her, and it left a nasty mark. Even though she has Kryptonian level powers, it seems like whatever Doomsday is infected her almost, which being infected by Doomsday doesn't sound good in the slightest. And as I go to talk about the very traumatic day they have had, Superman goes on to say that they have gotten lucky. Doomsday is one of the toughest enemies he has ever fought. He has taken countless lives, including Parasite today. But Superman still has one very important question on his mind. As you see, when the future version of Doomsday came to him, the Time Trapper, he tried to convince him to help him. He said that Doomsday's return was a sign of more horrors to come. And Superman just has one question to ask. What's scarier than Doomsday? Because a threat even bigger than Doomsday, as powerful as he is is potentially world-shattering and a threat that Superman alone can't take on. But as you cut from Earth to all the way across the universe on a different planet, we see the leader of the people here go on to reveal something very interesting and potentially very dangerous. As he goes on to say the Ultimate, who he is referring to as Doomsday, has returned, and we have waited long enough and it's time for our revenge, no matter the cost. As he puts on his mask and gears up, meaning whoever these people on this planet are, they've been wronged by Doomsday and they are coming to inflict revenge. And of course, with Doomsday being in the possession of Superman and his colleagues, it seems like they're going to try to invade Earth just to get to him, putting Earth's heroes and Superman in the crossfires once more, potentially against a full alien invasion. But of course, we will see how that turns out in the next issue and story as this one comes to a close. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, or subscribe if you're new and want to see more of this type of content. As always, this is the Hero Informer, and thank you for watching.